We're at Chapter 4 of Big Finish's 60th anniversary epic, Once and Future, Two's Company, and the Big Finish dartboard has struck again. We've got a story which starts with the Third Doctor, played by Tim Treloar, who then degenerates into his sixth incarnation, played by the one and only Colin Baker.
Even more of me!
This will be his second appearance in Once and Future, because he played the curator in The Artist at the End of Time. But once again, so we've got the Sixth Doctor, along with an older Harry Sullivan, played by Christopher Naylor. We've also got Camille Coduri returning as Jackie Tyler, and we've got Michelle Ryan as Lady Christina de Souza. This is a story which sees the Third Doctor arrive in 2006. He goes to Unit HQ to figure out what is the cause of the degeneration that is happening to his body after being struck by a highly specific and highly complex weapon during the Time War, which leads him to Harry Sullivan, who is doing some experiments in unit in a highly classified operation with the Renegade, played by Michael Maloney. I'm not going to get into too many spoilers as to who the Renegade is, but you can probably tell by the title that something a little bit timey-wimey is going on here. So we've got the Sixth Doctor with an older Harry Sullivan trying to figure out how to harness the power of this Gallifreyan material that is the cause of the degeneration. And also, meanwhile, on the other side of London, you've got Jackie Tyler, who has been given the number of Lady Christina because she wants a little bit of extra work. She needs a bit more income because Rose Tyler's not there to make her ends meet at the council estate. So she manages to meet Lady Christina and hilarity ensues. Let's play a clip from Once and Future, Two's Company.
Hello?
Stay right where you are and put your hands on your head.
Why? What are you going to do? Frisk me?
Yes.
Oh, behave. Is your mum in?
Pardon?
Your mum? The woman at bingo said to ask for Lady Christina.
You're looking at her.
Get out of here. You're the same age as my daughter.
The title comes with birth. I was Lady Christina before I was toilet trained. Bingo?
It's a game. Little balls with numbers on.
You said you were here about a job.
That's right.
What kind of job?
Well, you tell me.
People usually have something specific in mind. An artifact from a museum, a piece of jewellery from a private collection.
What are you on about? I thought you were after a bit of hoovering and a run round with a chamois leather.
Right. This woman at bingo, what was her name?
Melody something. Bit of a cut above the usual lot. Hair permed within an inch of its life, mind. She won every game and I don't think she looked at her cards once. She's the one who said you needed a cleaner.
A cleaner?
Well, she wasn't wrong either. Thought our Rose's bedroom was bad. Whew. When'd you last run 'em up along this floor?
I find life's too interesting to worry about a little dust.
Well, give me a job and then you won't have any dust to fret about. You can get on with, well, whatever it is you people do all day.
You people?
Oh, you know what I mean. Rich, posh. I bet your life's ever so fancy.
Okay, it does have its moments.
All champagne and caviar.
Hardly.
Bet you ain't got a job, though. I've got 3. Well, I had 3 until Hairy Mary at the Shop and Save started going out with Big Darren.
Right.
She's had it in for me since we had that ding-dong at New Year's.
Has she?
Absolute brass neck of her. So that was me out of a job at the mini-mart. And here I am.
Yes, here you very much are.
I should stop talking, shouldn't I?
So let's talk about what Once and Future, Two's Company really has going for it. Firstly, this is a script from Lisa McMullen, who last year wrote the 10th Doctor and 6th Doctor crossover story, Wink. This is someone who has already written for the 6th Doctor, and she's completely got him down pat. This is a really great story for the 6th Doctor and allows Colin Baker to just have a lot of fun in a much more laid-back story, you know, where the universe isn't necessarily at stake. I also think that there's a good dynamic between the 6th Doctor and Harry Sullivan, and while it is a little bit iffy, of course, to have an older Harry Sullivan on the cover, as you folks know, Ian Marter died quite young, so to have him aged up on the cover to an age where the real life actor who played him did not even reach that age. I can understand people being a little bit icky with it, a little bit yucky feeling in your tum-tum, and I completely understand that. But the dynamic in terms of the actual characters are strong. But the actual scene-stealing stuff here is done by Camille Coduri and Michelle Ryan, because you do get these absolutely two polar opposite women who end up really complementing each other. How you've got Jackie Tyler, a single mom from the council estate, actually, having tea and having biscuits and baking bread, I think that's the expression, with somebody who was born to a title, who was born into aristocracy. The complete opposites in terms of social standing and in terms of lifestyle, but they get on like a house on fire, and they work together along with the Sixth Doctor and Harry in order to break into unit, because essentially Jackie Tyler has got a piece of jewellery that Rose Tyler left, that she picked up on an alien world somewhere. Rose Tyler's out there in the universe with the Doctor, presumably the 10th Doctor, and she left a necklace in her room, which Jackie Tyler starts wearing. Lady Christina recognises it as incredibly valuable. It goes to auction, then they have to break into the place where it is. So they weren't able to successfully get it at auction. So it's a bunch of contrivances in terms of this is the exact team that the Doctor needs at this particular time in this degeneration story. And the story actually draws attention to that. The Sixth Doctor says, it's a massive coincidence that I would be here with you, Jackie, and with you, Christina, the two women I absolutely needed to meet at this time. So maybe that's going to pay off a little bit later on down the line. But in terms of just a beginning to end story, and I think this is actually the shortest Once and Future so far, it's like only 46 or 47 minutes. I think that it moves at a good clip, and it was pretty entertaining with lovely dialogue. What kind of lets it down is that the villain, the antagonist in the story, is actually a surprise character who I was fascinated at the inclusion of, but then they don't really do much to develop said character, and it's meant to be like a pseudo origin story for them, and then they just leave everything off screen and everything incredibly vague. It leaves the actor kind of with very little actual material and meat to chew on, because they're doing stuff in the background while the real stars of the show, Six, Harry, Jackie and Christina, are doing all of the structural and fun heavy lifting. It was quite disappointing to have another character from the Big Finish dartboard be put into Two's company, and they have practically nothing to do. It was quite disappointing in that regard, and it kind of shows the weaknesses of a dartboard approach like this. Lisa McMullen, in the behind-the-scenes interviews that come with this set, says that she was assigned these characters, including the surprise character later on, that, like I said, I won't spoil. So I think that Lisa has done the absolute best with the material. I genuinely, hand on heart, cannot imagine a better, more polished and structurally sound version of a story with these characters, with these 5 characters, including the secret character who I'm not going to get into. It works pretty well. I actually found this pretty entertaining, but it is, much like A Genius for War, much like many of the other Once and Future stories, once it's done, you're probably going to forget about it in a day or two. There's actually very little actual dramatic tension here. There's an awful lot of, you're not gonna remember this at the end of this, so you don't have to worry about maybe messing up the continuity when it comes to Lady Christina meeting another incarnation of the Doctor before she's meant to meet him in Planet of the Dead in 2009. You're not gonna have Jackie Tyler remembering that she's met another incarnation of the Doctor. And Harry Sullivan, that continuity doesn't really matter for the TV screen anyway. But I'm curious why they went for an older Harry, because A Man Out of Time, Harry Sullivan, a younger man from the 1970s but being in the present day, is literally part of his storyline. I know this isn't the present day, this is 2006, but I'm surprised they didn't incorporate it into that. I don't know why Harry needed to be older. It's only because of this cover art that he's older. It doesn't really insinuate anything in the story itself. But Once and Future 2's company, it actually, unlike A Genius for War, does progress and continue the Once and Future story. This isn't, a pit stop. He's actually learning about the technology behind the degeneration, and there's some more Time Lord lore happening in the background as well. I think with the exception of the lackluster villain, who I think was kind of destined to fall by the wayside in a story with so many major celebratory characters, I think that this is about as good as it was going to be. And Two's Company is, as far as I'm concerned, a pretty strong story. It's a decent and fun 45 to 50 minutes of Big Finish with surprisingly great dynamics between the Sixth Doctor and Harry Sullivan and Jackie Tyler and Lady Christina. That stuff's really, really good. I also do like how in that clip they dropped in the melody without officially properly confirming that it might have been River Song, Melody Pond. But with the Once and Future thing, I'm glad that we are in some sort of way getting like a best who's who of Doctor Who's past, whether it be Unit and the Meddling Monk and the Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane in past lives, the Doctor's daughter, Fifth Doctor and the Curator and the Artist at the End of Time, Ingenious for War, you've got the Time Lords, the General and Veclin, Seventh Doctor, Dalek Supreme, Davros. Here, we've already gone over the characters. Next month, we've got Once and Future, the Martian Invasion of Planetoid 15, which has got the First Doctor, then the 10th Doctor, then Missy, then the Paternoster Gang. And the Paternoster Gang is a really good pick for this because it means you can include the Silurians and the Sontarans at the same time in their own small kind of individual way in an anniversary celebratory story. So I think that's really cool. That's a good way to incorporate more of Doctor Who's past. In terms of the actual story itself, it's hard to kind of like recommend them as like part of a saga because it's really progressing at one hell of a crawl. Like very little is actually happening in terms of the fixing or the learning of the degeneration and what's happened in the Time War. But all of these stories have been, good to decent so far, and Two's Company continues that trend. The dialogue is the winner here, though, and the characterization. I think, like I said, Lisa McMullen has done the absolute best with the material and the characters that she's been given. I think she's done a really great job here. I just think that this was kind of doomed to have some lackluster and lacking elements because there's just so much crammed in here on a character level.